Welcome
to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 439 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. Going to be live hacking on some Firefox stuff. As you can tell, I forgot to bring my green screen today, so we're just going to have to deal with this background that I can't key out. My bad. I'd use the machine to do it, except I don't want to spare the precious cycles of my CPU to do the machine thing. So we're just going to have to deal with the background. My apologies. Let's get started. Here's my screen. Yeah, it's May 6th, 2026. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I think I know what I want to do today. I think I know sort of what I want to focus on. I don't know how far I'm going to get. I don't know if I'm going to get sort of like sidelined or distracted or... Because like someone sent in a question and I might spend an hour just answering the question. Who knows? Because I haven't actually read the question yet. And that's okay. We're just going to deal with it as it comes. That's the first thing. Second thing, the agenda that you're looking at here is something that you have access to. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, there should be a link over in the details section that away. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be down in the video details description down there. And if you're watching this on Twitch, it's down in the channel details. All right. So this was a question that came in. I'm reading it for the first time. It's a pretty lengthy one. I just pasted it in, and here we go. Missed the submission window, so here's my question again. So that's interesting. So I do look for activity in older episodes, but it's not always the case that Google tells me the recently changed date for old form spreadsheets. I don't know why that is. Maybe there's a way I can better become aware of people asking questions in prior episode forms. There was a regression on the 10th of April, 2026, so just under a month ago, breaking the functionality of middle-clicking the Go to Address and Location bar arrow button to open the address in a new tab. However, the bug Moz Regression provides is not public, and its title does not make sense related to the regression. So the remove syncing of live instructions. Well, that's interesting. So what was identified is actually a backout. Did not find a branch. Checking all integration branches. The bisection is done. Stop. There's a similar bug. Middle-clicking alternate engines no longer performs a search on the current search bar next in a new tab, but the dates don't match. The issue isn't fixed concurrent nightly. I assume this regression isn't an intended change, but I can't tell without seeing the regressor bug. I mean, chances are that... I mean, that's so interesting that the regressor is a backout. I'd be actually skeptical of that. I use the functionality as a workaround for what has caused internal Mozilla debate, some bugs here, and there's still inconsistent behavior between about new tab, about blank, and about private browsing. So let's check. If you middle-click the Go to Address and Location bar arrow button. So if I type in like CBC and I middle-click this, nothing happens. Okay, that sounds like something. Let's rerun Moz Regression. I'm going to show you how I use Moz Regression. We're going to see if we can find a regression range. We'll see if the regression range that we find matches this reporter. So I'm going to do mock Moz Regression. Let's find a build that works. So they had claimed, I'm using a new keyboard. I'm in the office today, in the Mozilla Toronto office, and the keyboard monitor mouse pair that I grabbed is like this. The keyboard is this very fancy mechanical keyboard. It looks very futuristic, and it's got clickety-clackety keys. And so if I'm a little clumsy with the keyboard, I apologize because it's not the one I'm used to. Let's launch a build from the 9th of April. So launch 2026, April 9th. We're going to launch a build and see if we can reproduce the issue. Is it Keychron? I don't think it's that fancy. This is from Logitech. I only say it's fancy because like the keys are backlit, and maybe that's like it comes standard now. I don't know. This isn't like too fancy. This is just a Logitech keyboard, but it's I'm not like a keyboard fetishist or anything. I know there are some people who really, really enjoy fancy keyboards and they get that special color-coded keycaps, and I've seen keyboards where like each individual key has like a little screen behind it, so they can be like remapped and restyled, and it's pretty wild. And that's not really my world. I don't really understand it. I understand that some people are really into it. I just like a keyboard that will respond to my key presses. Okay, so let us try this. So CBC, and then if I middle click on this arrow, that works. Okay. So now let us, back in my day, we didn't have backlit keyboards. That's exactly right. I'm old man Mike. So let's now check the 11th. Let's not check the 10th because we don't know when on the 10th it was introduced. We'll start with the 11th and we'll see if the bug is there. So what I'm doing is I'm running the nightly. What I did was I ran the nightly from the 9th of April. I'm now running, and I could not reproduce the issue. Now I'm going to run the nightly from the 11th of April and see if I can reproduce the issue. And if I can, then the game is let's run all of the individual builds in between those two dates, and then try and narrow in on the build and then the change set that introduced the issue. So I'll go cbc.ca. Whoops. I hit again. The keyboard is messing with me, and then middle click. Okay, does not work. So the reporter seems to be correct that the regression was introduced. They have the right sort of date range. So now I'll say that the good build was on the 9th, and that the bad build that I found is on the 11th. Now it might actually get me to test those again, unfortunately. Can this break your profile? No, by default, this is going to use a different profile each time. Like it's going to create a temporary one each time that you run the test. Now you don't have to. You can run Moz regression. Here, let me pump the font. You can run Moz regression. Okay, hang on. It's asking me to test this build. Oh, whoops. cbc.ca, middle click. So good. That's a good build. So I'll go back over here and I'll write good. And that was probably as expected because that's just running the 9th again. I wish it was not inclusive. I wish it was exclusive because I know that that's a good build and I know that that's a bad build, but it's really making me check. So if you run mock Moz regression help, it will tell you a bunch of handy stuff that you can supply to it. And one of those things is the sort of profile strategy that it will use. And I think by default it's using, where is it? Persist. No. Here, we'll go back to that in a sec once we verify that the bug is here. Yes, the bug is here. So I will say that this one is a bad build. And now it's going to run the 10th. So if you say profile persistence, defaults to clone. So what will happen is before each tested build, a profile is used. If the value of that option is clone, each test uses a fresh clone. If the value is during, what does it say? If the value is cloned first, the profile is cloned once, then reused for all builds during the bisection. If the value is reused, the given profile is directly used. Know that the profile might be modified by Moz regression defaults to clone. And then by default, whenever you don't supply any arguments, the profile that it clones each time, or clones the first time, depending on how you've configured profile persistence, is a temporary profile that it created for itself. And where is that? Where can I tell it which profile? Pref, repo, bits, command, persist. Here, profile to use. -P. Okay. So let's test this build. cbc.ca, middle click, works. So that's a good one. And now that we've tested 3 nightlies. We tested the nightly on the 9th and then the 11th. We just did the 10th and we found that it worked. So what it's decided is that the last good revision was on the 10th and the first bad one was on the 11th. And now it's looking for builds that were created in between those 2 nightly dates. And it's going to start right smack in the middle. And this is called a binary search if you're not familiar. We're going to check the build in the middle. And if the bug exists, then we'll check all of the earlier builds. And if the bug doesn't exist, Then we'll check all the later builds. And we're trying to find the first one that introduced the bug, basically. This is called a bisection. It sounds fancier than it is. This is just like binary search for humans. Okay, so that is a bad build because I'm middle clicking and nothing's happening. So I'm gonna say bad. So it's saying that I've only 2 builds, about 1 step left before it's identified the nightly build that's going to have the problem. Now, the thing is, each nightly build has a whole stack of changes in it. So we may end up having to bisect further, either in the source. If there's nothing immediately obvious in the sort of the regression range, the revision list, then we might have to do the bisection with the source code as the next step, and so we can find the actual specific change set that introduced the problem. But this is a great way, if you're interested in helping out, maybe you don't feel like writing patches, but you're interested in helping us, finding regression ranges is such a help. Finding when a bug was introduced is a great way of getting a bug fixed, because first of all, it makes it clear who's probably responsible for fixing it, because it's usually the person who landed the thing that broke it. Because oftentimes when bugs come in, it's not that we don't care, it's that we're all busy. And so if it's not an emergency bug, if it's just like a low severity bug, we'll be like, okay, well, we'll get to it when we can. But usually, if someone is responsible for a regression, they'll be like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let me fix that real quick. So that's a little bit of jujitsu there for you. Non-VCS jujitsu. Okay, cbc.ca, middle click, broken. That's a bad build. Bad. So if I look for what was it? A keyword regression window wanted. These are all of the bugs, and there's 422 of them, and some of them are pretty old, so you might want to order it by ID here. But if you can look through here, a bunch of these are for Thunderbird, but there's some here for Firefox. If you can reproduce the problem, and if you can comment in the bug with a regression range, oh man, what a help. Let me put that link in here. So here's the query for finding regression window wanted bugs. And then you can use mock Moz regression to find a regressor. And the first step, it's pretty important. You need to understand what it is that you're looking for so you can recognize if the bug is there or not. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, while this sounds good in theory, in practice, sometimes this is trickier because not every bug reproduces deterministically. And so that can be a problem whenever the bug may exist, but you're not sure. You have to do some number of steps, a number of times to determine whether or not the bug is still there. Those are very frustrating because if you're wrong, then you throw your bisection completely off. If you get a false negative, for example, and say the bug was not there when it actually was, it's just you didn't trigger the right race condition, then it'll throw your regression range right off. Okay. Worst case is when you stumble upon another bug during bisection that prevents you from testing the bug. That's true. I've run into that as well. Okay, so this is also not working, so that's bad. So we have a regression window here. Now it's saying I've got 4 steps left. We've started to go into individual auto landings, which is good. But here's our regression range, and maybe there's something obvious in here. Anything about the address bar, URL bar? Convert Zool to URL bar input to HTML except the search mode switcher. This seems very relevant and probable as our regressor. Let us verify that though. Whoops. What I wanted to do is type that in and middle click, and that worked. So that's a good build. So I'm going to say good. And let's see whether or not we were right. Is that convert URL bar input still in our regression range? Now we've cut it in half. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And this is looking very plausible as our regressor here. Danny Colin says, I once stumbled upon a Moz regression bug while trying to find a regression in Firefox, which, I mean, the irony, the height of irony, it's a little bit sort of like Yo Dog Exhibit. And I love that. I love that for you. That's great. All right, cbc.ca, middle click. That works. So I'm going to say this is a good build. And let us now examine our regression range. What's really nice is that Moz regression, instead of like waiting to download each build in the background or download for you, wait until you've made a decision to make a download, is that it's downloading both possible next choices in the background. So you're trading time for network, which is great. Especially because our network here is fast and I'm not being billed for it, like by gigabyte or whatever. Waiting for this build to launch. There we go. Okay, cbc.ca, middle click, and it works. That's a good build. I said good. Okay. There must have been some special character in there. All right, let us now take a look. Is it still in there? Yes, it is. It is. I think it's this. I'm going to put good. I will bet $2 Canadian that is this bug. And in fact, let's open this bug. Now let's see if there's a known regression. Yeah, it's right here. Regression. And it's assigned. And this was assigned an hour ago. Woo! So I can stop right now, actually. I don't think this is necessary for me to do anymore. We found the regressor. And it turns out that the regressor is the switch for the converting the Zool URL bar input to HTML, which is related to what I'm hoping to be doing today, which is converting one of the downloads panel UI chunks into HTML. And we found that the bug is actually assigned. So I get my money, I guess. I bet $2 Canadian. I don't know who pays that. I never understand who pays out. Like, no one bet against me, I guess. So I'm going to respond to this this question by saying this bug, which is assigned as of today, an hour ago, as of this writing, assigned as of this writing, an hour ago. And then there is still inconsistent behavior between about new tab, about blank, and about private browsing. I don't fully know if that's a question. So here's I'm glad we found the regression range. I don't know if the person who asked this or put this in the forum is on the call. So I have two pieces of feedback. First of all, thank you very much for writing in. Second thing, your regression range was off, unfortunately. So I'd be curious to know why the regression range was off. Did you see something that I did differently? Did not find a branch. Checking all integration branches. Found commit message. This reverts commit such and such. Starting merge handling. Narrowed integration regression window from these two. And saying one step left. Yeah, I'd be like, what did I do differently such that I'm well, maybe I should keep going actually. Let's we know what the answer is, but let's see if we get the same regression range as the person who wrote in. So that's good. No. This is the answer that I got. Narrowed regression range to this. And if we look at that regression range, I'm going to guess it is exactly the... not quite. And it contains this bug, but it looks like all of these kind of got pushed at the same time. Now, if I was wanting to narrow this down even further and be like, oh, I hope it wasn't me, because there's my name, I would bisect these revisions using Jujitsu or Git or what have you. What was the bug that the reporter mentioned? Remove syncing of live. Remove. So that's the first commit in the patch, in the stack, but isn't the whole range. So that's the answer, I think, is what we got to. It sounds like you used Moz regression correctly, but you didn't you didn't produce the right range for some reason. Towards the end of running Moz regression, it should give you a range. And sometimes that range is just a single commit. But you should check the range that it's giving you to see if what is the if there's something obvious in the in the range that could be producing the bug. And if there's nothing that's obvious, then you do like the git bisector or JJ bisector, what have you. Does JJ have a bisect? Yes, it does. Okay. So there you go. We found it. It's assigned. So that's the first piece of feedback is take a look at the full range of commits, not just the top one in your regression range. And the second one is, and this is a little bit of a nit, but like I don't see it. Like I had a hard time pulling a question out of this. This was more like a bug report, which is fine. But if you're gonna file, this should have been filed as a bug. Now, thankfully, someone else filed this. Whoever filed this bug filed this 8 hours ago. Maybe it's even the person who wrote in. Juraj Masayar. Maybe they wrote in. Yeah, suspect this. Alice. So Alice Classic. Great work from Alice White. Produced the regression window. Nailed it. And wired things up correctly to the right bug. And noticed that within less than a day of having found the regressor, Moritz assigned themselves. So that's how you get bugs fixed, I find anyways, is if you can find the regressor. That's a great way of sort of like finding the person who is most likely to be able to fix the bug. And chances are, if it's a recent bug and a recent regression, that person still has all the context in their head. And they'll be like, oh, snap, I didn't mean to break that. Let me figure this out. And so this is a great way of getting your stuff fixed. If you're a nightly user, I highly recommend becoming familiar with Moz regression and running this query periodically and seeing if there are any regression ranges you can find. Alice is doing a great job here, but can't rely on Alice alone. You know, if you're out there and you want to help find regression windows, regression ranges, I use those interchangeably. Then give this a shot. Give this a shot. And then, I don't understand this last bit. Please re-ask in the form of a question, and I'll do my best to try and answer. All right, let's move on. But also, thank you for writing in. I appreciate that. I hope that was interesting for people, learning how to use Moz regression. Let us now look at the downloads UI stuff. Where did we get to? Oh, I even left a note for myself for next week. Where are those spans Oh, yeah, we had a mystery. We're going to solve a mystery. Let's solve a mystery. Where are those spans going? Where is the progress going? So the mystery was that, how do I indent these? Is there a, how do I indent these? Okay, well, tab. Let us reveal the mystery. Refresh our memory about what it was that we were experiencing. So I've already built this, and we have the patches in the downloads panel here. Let us now download something. Let's download this image. Oh, but before we download it, let us turn on pop-up auto hide. We'll save the image, and we've got a download here. And notice that the strings are missing. And that inside the download container, only one span exists, but the progress element that we would have expected. Where is it? Download progress. Yeah, where is this thing? And where are these things? We've got this. We don't have these things, and why is that? So here's what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do, this is a little hacky, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to say this dot download progress, add event listener, or what do I want is like, I want to know whenever it's removed from the DOM. And I don't care about performance, so DOM node removed, is that? Yeah, you can, I think that's a legitimate event. Mutation record. I believe DOM node removed still exists though. Event DOM, no? Well then, what about all this? Crash tests. These tests still exist. These are web platform tests. It was from 10 years ago. Mutation events have been deprecated. Use mutation observers instead. DOM handlers would change the following, blah, 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 blah. Maybe what we can do is, because I want to know synchronously that the DOM node was removed. So maybe I'm okay with this. DOM node removed. And what I'll do is I'll say, oh, this keyboard, okay. I'll say dump progress removed. And then I'm going to dump the stack. Yeah, it's like the button's null. There's a bunch of stuff missing. So why is that? Let us now build. And then maybe we'll get spans are not safe. Oh, good question. Is it possible that the parser... No, I don't think that's the case, because then I would expect our tests to all be failing right now, because our tests actually ensure that these things exist. It's just right now in manual testing that they're disappearing. But our tests exercise the progress bar, and they exercise these spans, so at least under certain conditions, they're sticking around. Okay. Save image. I don't see any text that would explain why. Progress. And progress L. And then fine, let us then use mutation observer for DOM removal. Or maybe we should have been listening to the parent element, which is the container. Or just this dot element itself. Let's do that. Let's see what happens there, instead of like trying to set up a mutation observer. And if this doesn't work, we'll set up a mutation observer. It's a little more cumbersome to set up a mutation observer. Save image. Progress L. Okay, so like the element exists, it was in the DOM, and then it gets removed. So this DOM node removed event handler is not working. We're going to use a mutation observer instead. So let's call it removal this dot mute observer equals new mutation observer e if e was it mutation observer replace Chapman final low performance due to flaws in its design. Remove nodes, dump, remove nodes, new error stack. Now, is it a problem? Like, is this, if that's not synchronous, that's a problem. But, and then we have to tell it, this dot mute observer dot observe, and then we give it something. This dot element, and I'll tell it that the child list is also to be watched. And we can get rid of that. All right. All right, here we go. Let's pull this tennis image. Okay. I don't see a removal. Oh, this looks horribly broken. Did I break something? As error failure on connect on line 484. Mute observer equals, right, it doesn't know what a mutation observer is. We'll have to use document default view mutation observer. Maybe they're not created at all, so they can't be removed, except that we knew that the progress element was being added. And the progress element is being, we can query it as a child of the element. We know that it's been there, at least at the point of construction. So if they're not there after the point of construction, then they must be removed. When were they removed is the question. I mean, maybe they let us try a couple things here. Are they in here? But I just can't see them. Let us query for a progress event or element. Query selector. Progress. Null. So it's not there. Okay, other hypothesis. What's being displayed isn't related to what's being created, which seems strange. Here, let us do this. Inside of this condition, maybe we'll do this. We'll go download view UI mutation observer. Let's just set a breakpoint here. Let's download another thing. Let's download this image again and see if we hit our breakpoint. No. let us set a breakpoint here. Okay. So we've got our breakpoint. Let's look at this thing. This dot element is a rich list item. First child is the div main area. This dot element query selector progress. Oh. So then how does this work? This dot download progress works. Oh, wait, query selector HTML progress? No, query selector dot download progress. So somehow between defining this and where we are, the elements were removed. So is this thing is connected? False. It was removed from the DOM tree. It's removed from the DOM tree. Even though we have all of these things, this dot download target is connected. True. So some of them are still around, like download target. Some of them are not. A mystery. Okay, let's try this. Let us put a breakpoint here instead. And we'll get rid of this breakpoint. And let's see if we can find first child null, because we haven't actually appended anything yet. Okay, so let's get down there. We're gonna append the child. Okay, now, okay, and then can we get the progress? So here we have it. So let us find it in the DOM tree here. I'm gonna right click on this. I'm gonna say break on node removal. I do the same thing with, oh, that's interesting. And then the span is inside of it. That looks wrong. Oh, and then this, okay, so I think I see part of the problem. It's like, it's confusing. I think it doesn't like these auto closing tags. Whenever there are siblings, although it seems fine with these two. Seems okay with this one, but what is this? Namespace is XHTML. And what about this one? Namespace XHTML. And this one's namespace is XHTML. I think this is at least a little bit related to it. But we are now going to break when it's removed from the tree. So let us now hit play on our playhead here, on our debugger. And we'll see if we can break on removal. And we don't break. Oh, and the progress is still there. If I fold this, it comes back. It's still there. So it's like... inside this download target. Okay, I think it's this structure is like, it does not like these auto closing tags. So let us not use auto closing tags. Let's see if that sorts it out. And just to be completionist, we'll do that here as well. And down here. And that should be everybody. Go ahead and quit. Can these elements in the Shadow DOM, can these elements be in Shadow DOM? I don't think they are, not by default. I mean, I haven't created a shadow root. I think that's a good idea to do eventually, is to put these within the Shadow DOM just for style encapsulation and whatnot. But I think that can come later. Shadow DOM is a way of encapsulating subtrees within the DOM tree, so that they're like private. Think of them as like private trees. Private trees within the DOM tree. That's how I like to think of them. Okay, let us download an image. Oh no, I want an image. Sure, let's do this one again. Save image. Place. So that looks better. Completed. It's doing the right thing there. And I'll bet you... Okay, progress is gone, but the image is there. Now, why is progress gone? Do we ever remove it from the DOM tree? Oh, no, it's right here. It's here. It's just hidden. Okay, so we did the right thing. We did the right thing. I think, what is this? What is this? So I think we're on the right track here. We've solved our mystery. And this, I think, we want it to be... a flexbox flex direction column. I think that's how it's supposed to be. And then I also think it's supposed to be justify content start or align content start, flex start. No? Margin. Text align, Moz center. Element attributes, style. Where is this coming from? Text align. Oh, well, because of crop? Maybe that's why. How happens if I get rid of crop? And get rid of text align start. No? Does crop even work on this thing? Crop end. Like if I say completed foo bar baz blah, 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 blah. No, it's not cropping it. So that's a problem. We need these things to be able to be cropped. And this one should also be cropped. but I'll bet he is not cropping. Yeah. So I need to let's write some stuff down. Where are the spans going? Our self-closing tags were confusing things. Got rid of them. Maybe there's something about that inside of parse from DOM parser. Self-closing tags HTML. Self-closing tags do not exist in HTML. That's what's going on. They're required in void elements. Oh, so that's what's up. Okay. Today I learned. I use self-closing tags everywhere, but I guess it's invalid. Okay, let's take a look at cropping, because that's next. I do want this to be aligned properly, but first let's figure out cropping. That's very important. That's interesting. This implements standardize on crop rather than... This is like using element label value and starting cropping with CSS rather than Zool layout. So maybe I can do the same thing here. Can I implement cropping with CSS? I'll just do it. Let's try it here. Let's say span with crop. We're going to make the color red. Okay, so that's right. We got them. Got them. So now let's try doing this. Min width 0. And then we're just gonna replace how are they? That's crop start end. Oh man, how do I do crop center? Center ellipsis. Crop string in the middle. This is from when? 2020. Text overflow. This is SVG. CSS property. Clip, revert, values, clip, ellipsis, string. Start and end. How do I clip center? Oh no. Oh no, this might be a problem. I might end up having to do this with script. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Text overflow center ellipsis. Oh no, that's not quite right. That's interesting. Someone asked if that's a fox on my shirt. Akris asked. Smurf D asked it. Yes, this is a fox. This is an electrolysis shirt from when I worked on the electrolysis team. So what is the maximum width? You basically want max. You want like Let me see if there's anything in Bugzilla about center crop. Provide crop equal center equivalent capability for HTML CSS. Oh boy, 2 years ago, Zool Sports Crop Center. Yeah, so I forgot about how this worked. The reason is because at least how the code works, you need a source for the uncropped string. Render text node side, not arbitrary stuff. So I guess we're going to work for arbitrary cons about the TBD problem. The discussion for standardizing a way of doing this is in here 2 years ago. Okay. Comment here is an artifact. Can't be inline. Should probably be a block. Inline block. The way we do Zool stuff works now. Basically, a block the source of truth. I guess we could make it a leaf frame. That seems like the simplest way. 2 years ago. I'm not sure anyone's asking for that. If it's practical and enforce constraint that this crop center can only happen on an inline element with only text as content. Can't be on an inline. Should probably be on a block or an inline block. The way the Zool stuff works now is basically a block with a source of truth that's different than the DOM node. So the value attribute, basically the input value that manages the internal text node. And middle cropping. Block frame. Uh-oh, we might actually need to implement this. Hmm. What was the last comment here? I solved this for work. If anyone needs a solution while this... Oh, okay, great. Someone solved it. I just rolled my solution. Live demo, dynamic middle ellipsis. Solve this for work. Actually, I just had thought about the approach. Ellipsis middle. Does anyone? No. Let's see this person. Framework agnostic. Oh man. This is so much. I do not want to package a thing. No. I do not want this. No, 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 no. Yeah, wow. Okay, so it's just the one. That's a pain. We may have to implement something like this that is Chrome or like a browser, privileged browser Chrome specific, um, which I am not thrilled about. I'm going to have to talk to Emilio. If you can break the string in half, let's try. I'm just thinking here out loud, because I kind of like that span solution I saw. Let's say we can break the string in half. So let's say we've got our string here. How many characters? There are 84 characters, so that means we have to split it to the 43rd character. So what does that look like? 42nd. So it's right there. FASTA. Right there. Right? No. 9D SAD. I should have made this easier to reason about. I think it's about there. Doesn't really super matter. But let's put a span in here and call it class equals center crop. What we're going to do is I'm going to take that out. We're going to edit as HTML. And I'll be like, hey, there you go. Span, center crop. Okay. And now we are going to make it so that this thing attempts to be left aligned. We want the container pack. No, I don't want it to be packed center. Align content, flex start. Text align Moz center. Text align start. And then we're going to say if you text overflow ellipsis max width 50 pixels. No, doesn't like it. Max width has no, because it's of display inline. If I say display inline block of the download target, okay, display inherent. Text overflow is no good because overflow hidden is not set. So if I say overflow hidden, then that wraps text wrapping, no wrap. And now if I say our max width is 500 pixels, let's say it's 200 pixels. That's getting closer. You kind of want something like that, and then you want the rest of this to appear right next to it. Display inline block. Do we need to wrap this as in a span as well? Display. I want to like this. Inline block. Oh. Inline block. The element generates a block box that will be flowed with surrounding content as if it were a single inline box. It is equivalent to inline flow root. Okay. Ocris, something like this: overflow hidden, white space, no wrap, text overflow ellipsis. Yeah, what am I missing? How do I like? I need you to wrap around, my guy. Two. Div test 1, div test 2, and then I say body div display inline block. Yeah, it wraps around. What the heck? It's because this is still too wide. Like if I make this smaller. No. Is it because this is... Maybe this shouldn't be... This should be inline block. That's display inline block, and maybe this should be display flex. There we go. And it starts eating into this. So this always dominates. And we don't properly choose the right center point. Max width, what if it's like 40 ch, and then I think this is gonna be a pain in the butt. Did I allow my flex item to shrink? Well, the other thing is that maybe I want this to like flex. Yeah, flex shrink. Nothing. But then maybe I want overflow hidden. no good. It's like, I just want you to be... I think we're going to have to talk to Emilio from the layout team about how to do this properly. It seems like the web CSS as it is isn't going to do it. I'd really rather not do this in JavaScript. Seems like a great way to screw things up. So we will come back to this. Let me to do talk to Emilio about center cropping support in CSS for privileged markup layout. Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to do was the button. So here's the thing. This button doesn't look exactly right. If I were to download this image, let me get rid of that. And then download this image using my current nightly. Oh, it kind of looks like that. Okay. Never mind, we got it looking right. That should say open file, though. Why doesn't it say that? Why doesn't it say open file? It's trying to, but the downloads open file should be using -2 because we did a migration. And what's the other one? Download show description to. There is no show description. Command show description to. Jeez, come on. Show in finder dot value. And what do I have over here? Show description. Whoa. Again, I am dealing with new keyboard. Show menu item to. Where's description? Show panel. Show button. Command show button. Show panel. Show description 3. That's what it is. So that should be. This should be 3. And show panel 2. Yeah, okay. So now let us restart. So I'm expecting the styling to still be pretty rough. Whimsycorn gone? What Whimsycorn gone? Where's Whimsycorn? My background? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I should get it back. I don't know. Remember why? That might have happened during my Tahoe upgrade. Or something, or maybe I accidentally cleared out the image. I'll find it again. I'll put it back. Okay, so let's save the image. Hey, that's looking pretty good. Open file. We just needed to get to wrap correctly, like we did before. Which again, so it's downloads container. We're gonna say display flex direction column text And then for each of these, text align. Where is this coming from? Moz center. Element attribute style. Div. Text align start. That's what we want it to look like, gang. That's looking good. So we still don't have the cropping working. Oh, and also look at this. Can't access property set attribute. Button is null. So we're going to have to look into that. But let's get these styles in here. So for the download container, these are just, I think, mostly functional. Panel and outer controls. Downloads panel. Where's downloads inc used? It's also used inside of here, downloads.css. And all downloads view. So we want it in downloads.css, which gets and we want it to be inherited by everybody. So downloads.inc.css. Okay. Downloads panel multi-view. Downloads panel. Visibility and download labels. Download container. Display flex, flex direction column, text align start. Okay. And then that looks like that. And then I want to quickly try and solve this. So set attribute button is null in on select, or what is this? Can't access. Remove attribute button on select. Does it find a button? No. Find an item. This is downloads on select from handle event, select or focus, rich list box, on download mouse over. Select item. So there's no button here. Oh, we want that to be a Moz button instead in downloads.js. Okay, so that's what we'll do as well. So Moz button, so downloads.js button, say Moz button. Okay, let's see if that gets rid of it. Build faster, take a look. Hey, there's a spammer in the chat. Breathless count something something. Feel free to kick with extreme prejudice. Thanks, Smurfd. As usual, you're the best. Okay, so that looks good. Do we see the errors going away? Yes. Oh, if item. Yeah, okay. Save image. Get rid of that breakpoint. Interesting. And this one's completed, but the image is broken. Why is the image broken? Download type icon. And here, another error. Show display name and icon. 287. Download list. No, sorry, I should be in download list. On update state in 538. Down here, 538. Download target text content. And setting the display name. So let's do that again. Save the image. Place. Break. This dot download target. And it's like set the text content very well. Set the attribute. Set the source of download type icon. So this dot download type icon is now that. So how come this one failed? Because sometimes download target is undefined. Save. Is that because the panel didn't exist at the time? How come it was missing? You know what else is kind of interesting? We're getting these to show up here. In fact, do we have time to try and get them to show up in here now? Let's see if we can do that. Downloads sidebar. Not quite. I think we need to eventually decouple the UI from this. Parse from save string, connect. Ensure active. Almost want to start converting this into a lit element that can be imported. Maybe we'll do that next week. Let's make this a lit element. And because we have tests, I feel pretty good about refactoring this a little bit to a lit element. It will require, I think, just a little bit of rejigging for things like accessing like privileged stuff. Well, will it? Maybe not. If we do this quick and dirty, we can... Sure, active. Places view. Places view. View item, add view item. Append the element. View item, you construct it, you set the download to it. Let's try this. What's the opposite of ensure active? You just like delete it and you remove the child. Okay. So all downloads view UI. What's the import downloads from, and then when we render these things, what we'll do is we will almost want to pass it. Oh, ensure. Just downloads. Yeah, this is annoying. I think the easiest thing to do, let me just think out loud a little bit here. I think the next step will be to factor this out into a lit element so that we can just like create one like this and then assign it the download, and we take advantage of like lit template memoization and stuff and all that good stuff. So let's do that. Let's aim to do that next week. Ooh, didn't mean to erase that. Let's aim to do that next week. Let's also quickly run our tests now that we've changed some stuff. Not too much stuff. And mock test, browser components downloads, test Chrome, test download shell. Make sure that that all still works, and then we will call it there. But I will reach out to Emilio about how difficult it would be. That's good. To get the center cropping working, because that is a requirement here. And the reason we can't just... So the reason you want center cropping is because it's important to be able to see the file extension. You need to be able to see the very end of the file. And this is the same thing that we need to do for the URL bar, actually. Whenever you are looking at like a long domain name, you kind of want to have the same situation where like this is, if I've got a thin window here, let's create a very thin window, and I type in, this is your bank, trust me bro, trust.com evil.com, and then let me just, it's important that you be able to see the whole thing so that you don't actually, so this is interesting. How do we, yeah, like that's a problem. We need the center cropping so that you can clearly see the TLD, ETLD plus 1. I found an article which shows 2 solutions for middle cropping, says Ocris. Excellent. One of them uses JavaScript. So I'm using CSS and JavaScript. So I think there's only one solution here, and it's to use JavaScript. Using 3 dots. All right. All right. Well, let me go talk to some folks from Layout and Emilio and whatnot, the DOM team, and see if we can come up with a solution here. Because that's definitely something we need to fix before we can land this. Because it is important that users be able to see the file extension. Because it might look like a PDF, but if it's an executable, well, even if it's a PDF, but like if they think they've downloaded one file type because someone's just being kind of tricky and they've actually supplied an executable, you don't want people to get tricked that way. All right, so I will go figure that out. We figured that out. Fix button styling, this is done. Still to do. Talk to Emilio about this, and then factor out download item UI into a reusable lit element. So we will do that next. We'll try and do that next week. Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode of The Joy of Coding, episode 439. Let me know what you thought. There's a link here in the agenda to rate this episode, and you can give me a sense of what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want me to do more of, maybe less of. Or if you've got a question, feel free to ask me one. Yeah, episode 444 soon. That's true. It's coming up. That's a milestone. I read everything that comes in. If you've got a question, go ahead and send it in. I'll try my best to answer it. So here's the link to rate this episode. And hopefully if you answered this or asked this question, I was able to answer it for you. Although, again, I had to infer what the question was. It sounds like a bug report, not a question. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Oh, no. Hang on.
The joy of coding.
See ya.